Okay, wait a minute. You going live, right?
Not yet.
Okay. You know what we should be. What I need to be able to do is pull it up on my Facebook
Yes.
page.
So you can pull. You can go ahead and share me on Facebook, and then you can start sharing it and everything else, commenting, everything else, and it's good if you share it on your page as well.
Okay.
So if you go, it's on my main page, just for kind of,
Mm-hmm.
and then once you're on my main page, you can share it
I'm gonna use my wife and tell you to do it. I don't have a Facebook guy.
from me. But in the beginning, I'm gonna go ahead and cue it up because what happens in the beginning, I just need to start pulling people in. It takes a second for folks to come in.
Faruq Muhammad or Faruq which
Hunter, are you
Hunter.
cute?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay.
Hunter. That first one.
First one.
So you should be able to refresh that in just a second. And it'll be the first post up there when we refresh it. Ooh, I don't want to get that in there. That's not very attractive.
We don't want that to be the wallpaper for the show.
All right, we are.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a lag.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon to everybody on Facebook. Of course, as always, I'm going to give you a chance to jump in. But I'm introducing a new format. We actually did a second piece. This is actually the second one, not the first one. It's Live at Freedom. And this is where we get the opportunity to interview some of the absolutely amazing people that come and visit us at Freedom Labs. Now, as you know, Freedom Labs and those people who are dedicated to putting freedom in their life, it brings in some wonderful, awesome people. There are two wonderful people behind me on my couch. You see I'm not alone, and I'm in the corner of the screen this time instead of in the center of the screen. So that means a little bit something different because we're going to squeeze everybody in. I don't have my second camera, so forgive me for that. As always, I'm letting people come in, and Ozma, is that my Ozma? Hey, Ozma, happy birthday, baby, all the way to Senegal. That's my baby joining in from Senegal. Ozma, Uncle loves you. And then good morning, assalamu alaikum, Brother Siebel, or Wally Shamsuddin. Is that Wally Shamsuddin? Oh, there you go. You know Wally Shamsuddin, right? There's
Wally
the
Shamsuddin?
Yeah, the fish restaurants.
Yeah.
Wonderful people.
Right.
Wonderful people. Valerie Green, good morning, good afternoon. Well, no, not good morning. I'm sorry. I'm just used to doing the morning rants, and I'm always saying good morning. So what we're going to do is this set the format. I've got two mics set up. One, there's two. And you guys will be able to hear everybody better when they pull the microphone to them. Of course, I'm letting somebody get in. As always, go ahead and share this around. You save me from having to do it so that we can start the program a little bit earlier instead of waiting to share. We're going to make some quick introductions. As soon as I get two more people in, then I'll tell you who's behind us right here. So go ahead and share around, and let's grab one or two more people in so that we can do that. I'm going to share to my pages. As a matter of fact, tell you what we'll do. We'll do introductions while I share. Right? Remember this too. Troy, good morning. Good afternoon, brother. Yes. Marhaba Mustafa. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bong Dunka, good morning. Isaac Nay, wa alaikum salam, my brother. So let's go ahead. Remember, I want to greet everybody in the way they want to be greeted. So this is, like I said, get the shares in, share it around, and now we're going to start with our introductions. First off the rip, okay, we are going to do one to my right is here, but age comes before everything else. I'm going to say age comes before beauty, but I'm not trying to insult anybody. You know, this is it's
All beauty.
So we're going to pull the mic close, and you can just shift it right over towards you,
Yes,
and then we're going to speak from there and make the first introduction. While you're doing that, I'm going to share the program.
Oh, wait. Am I supposed to introduce myself?
Yes, sir.
Oh, here we go. My name is Dr. Rijal Abdul Mukmeen. I'm the Minister of Agriculture for the Nation of Islam and the farm manager for Muhammad Farms. And also a troublemaker for this world that is actually in the process of genocide, and in particular with food. So my job is to be like that little boy who stuck his finger in the dike in the Netherlands to stop the flood. I'm here to stick my finger in the process of making wheat and all we eat into a bomb that's gonna kill us all. I know that's kind of alarmist, but ring, ring, ring your bell. I'm here to snatch you out of hell. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Let me tell you that, brother. Dr. Ridgely is here to get us in trouble. I'm just going to tell you right now, he's here to get us in our trouble. He did tell you that he was the Minister of Agriculture for the Nation of Islam. So, we are here to get in trouble today, which, I love trouble. I actually adore trouble. It's a little friend of mine. I got a picture of her over in the corner. And she keeps me happy. All right. So, number 2, next up.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Brother Carlton Muhammad. I'm a member of the Nation of Islam Ministry of Agriculture. I assist Dr. Ridgely. And I'm also, I guess, what would you call my position with the time to leave? I'm a program coordinator, or I'm a member of the Time to Leave movement. And
all-purpose person.
and Dr. Ridgely's giving me a title, all-purpose person, to assist him in what he's doing at the farm. So I'm glad to be on the show, Brother Faruq.
All-purpose person.
That's right.
All-purpose.
He's his own app.
You're an app. Yeah. We have the benefit of having our own app inside. Download it. So we have a dual topic today, and one is, of course, really close to Dr. Ridley, and that is, I'm using these terms, but Dr. Ridley, because we're going to talk about a little bit of agriculture, but we're also going to talk about something that I think a lot of you have a lot more interest in. So let's cue them up real quick so you know what both of them. First, we're going to ask the question: is there a such thing as good GMO? Is it bad or is it good? We know GMO. We say GMO, no, bad. But let's think: is there good GMO, bad GMO? We're going to have that conversation. We're going to watch a little video, a little piece, a little snippet from our dear friend Bill Gates, who's promoting it everywhere and so forth. We're going to watch that together. And then there's another question that we have, and this is the one that all of you want. Matter of fact, hold on. Let's go. Will they destroy us? Will they destroy us? Will they destroy us? Right? That's a question everybody wants to know. You guys building that black city out there, they're going to blow you up. They're going to blow you up. Oh, that was the wrong Doom. That's like the game Doom. That didn't really happen. That's a little bit of a long way. Everybody knows I found the sound buttons. I like the sound buttons. So, okay, let's start kicking off a conversation. Once again, like I said, let me give you some hellos. Ibrahim Kovan, assalamu alaikum, my brother. Atan, what's up, man? That's really good working with you on the NOIMOA, says Atan. Atan says that he worked with you on something else, doctor, and he's giving you his hellos. Bong, good morning. Let's see, good afternoon. Azeen, assalamu alaikum. Sister Katina, how in the world are you on here?
Yeah.
We're waiting for you. You're supposed to be here with us. We're waiting for you to be here. You get off the program and come on over. We don't want to. You can't comment. We're not going to read your comments. I'm just joking. So, Brother Jabril, always love to have a white troublemaker with us. That's wonderful. And, I hope you had a Trump rally somewhere, pissing people off. Eric Davis, good to see you. Assalamu alaikum. Tindo, Steven, Jamal. Assalamu alaikum, bro. Assalamu alaikum, big brother. Majid Abdul Kareem. Assalamu alaikum, sister. All the way in New York. Tell Imam Talib, we said assalamu alaikum. Zakina Reggae and Gabriel Chef Ishmael. Also, Crystal Mendez. Peace, 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 peace to you. And Celeste, peace, sister. How are you? And yes, I am going to give you that call. Brother Ibrahim said, assalamu alaikum. May Allah reward and bless you, Exal. And then Tanya Kalima Bush. Good afternoon. All right, we got some wonderful people, and we're going to get some things talking. We're going to take away this topic because that's not our first topic. You guys got to stay tuned if you want to hear about will they blow us up. We're going to talk about that, right? Everybody's worried about that. The big attack, will the big white man Thanos come and blow up Wakanda? That's what you're worried about. So let's go ahead and close that down, and let's talk about our other topic, and that is whether or not there's a such thing as a good GMO. Now, before we get into this, I want to cue up a piece. I'm going to go to our other screen and cue up a piece about the Bill Gates. Now, by the way, before I cue this up, I just want to remind everybody this is a slightly different format. Normally, we're always joined together under Faruq Hunter's morning rants, and thank you for hearing me piss off and scream and fuss about everything else. But then we're also joined under the Freedom Nation for Beginners, which is talking about the things that we should be doing in order to come into things like the structure of Freedom Nation. But today, this is Live at Freedom, and this is where we honor the people who have come to meet us. And this is, we only do a Live at Freedom under one condition. If the folks that come to Freedom Labs are amazing individuals who we are, it's like we're the guests. So like we receive somebody so amazing that we're just happy that we're in the room with them. And that's, of course, the case with Dr. Ridley and Muhammad Farms and the Minister of Agriculture for the Nation of Islam. So at that point, with that point, let's have a conversation about good or bad GMO real quick. I'm going to fade this in. We're going to cue up something else. Let's all listen. The master of GMO 2018 has become Bill Gates. And Bill Gates is selling us, well, I'm going to let him say it in his own words, but I'm telling you, he's putting a lot of money behind making sure that you actually like GMOs. Troy, I'm going to read you right quick before we jump in there. Is there such a thing as non-GMO soy? Okay, you know what? I'm going to hold that a little while, and I'm going to feed that back to our guests and let them answer that question, okay? Let's all kind of watch this together.
There were lots of questions that came in regarding GMOs. A lot of people want to know how you balance the opportunity to address food scarcity with the concerns that many have around GMOs.
Right, so genetically modified organisms, that's where you create a new seed by using some biological approach that changes the gene. One example is you can put a gene in that prevents the plant from getting disease. And so a disease that's wiping out the crops of poor people and causing tens of thousands to starve, you can get rid of that. The techniques we're using here were actually invented for human medicine. And in the case of human medicine, we don't have a total ban on all drugs that are created this way, nor do we have a total acceptance. What we do is each drug gets created, it's trialed, and then each country has scientists who look at, okay, what are the benefits and what are the risks of that new drug, and they decide. And it's a very sophisticated system that's trying to maximize human welfare. For plants, it's going to be the same. That is, to a priori say, no, we don't want that seed that blocks disease, that's dooming the poorest to never have this kind of tool. And it'd be ironic, since many of these advances are creating things like drought tolerance that poor people only need because rich people have been emitting so much CO2 that the climate conditions are worse for those poor people. Now, making sure that there's that scientific depth so that they can analyze crop by crop, that's something that the foundation is helping to invest in, but each country will have its own decisions. And there are in the pipeline some fantastic crops that need to be looked at. We have decades of experience where rich countries have used GMOs. Some countries like South Africa, Burkina Faso, Egypt are using some GMOs right now. But the big wins are ones that come later, and each of those should be looked at as a special case, not ruled out or ruled in based on the general perception.
Oh,
Okay, none of us were being heard. So, sorry about that. That was a little bit. I'm using two mics today, y'all. Y'all know I sit in this room by myself, and I sit in the room by myself. Can you hear me now? Everybody should be able to hear me now. So, once again, like I said, we are dealing with. Let me recap real quick, and then let's toss them back up there so we can see them. Let's give it a chat. So, Bill Gates is promoting the fact that GMO is something that will help poor people, and we need it because all these rich people have polluted the world, and rich people need to get back to the poor people by doing science and study that lets us the poor people eat with the GMO. And so says the great savior Bill Gates. And so now we have to now have a conversation from some real farmers about whether or not we believe that's true. And really, let's start all over again and throw that in there. Let me go ahead and give you the full screen. Tell me what we got. How do we feel about that?
okay. Two things about what Bill Gates said. Number one, GMO is not a crop. GMO is a technology. Okay, that's like a gun is a technology, and a gun itself is not dangerous. If you put a gun on the table with nobody holding it, the gun is not dangerous. The question is who has the gun and what is his or her intent. We know who developed GMO. These are the same ones who are producing biological weapons and who have poisoned the sea, water, and land and dropped atomic bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. They are the ones who have the GMO technology, which is a rape technology that goes into one species and sticks into it the DNA of another species who normally they would never even look at each other. And in other words, like with GMO corn, they put a bacteria that you find in the ground. They put a bacteria into the DNA of the corn, and that bacteria kills worms. However, the companies that produce the GMO will not tell you what else may be in the genetically modified corn because it's all patented. Monsanto will not tell you what else is in there, and the else is the problem. Now, the other thing about what he said about food scarcity, the problem we have food scarcity are political and cultural. The political problem with food scarcity is that, like in South Africa, the white people, even in Africa, have owned all the best land in the country and put the black folks on rocks. The other part of that is that what the land is mostly used for, including in the Amazon basin, they're used to grow food for animals, not food for humans. And then we buy or eat the animals because they can make more money off selling us meat than they can off selling us soybeans or wheat or corn. So the scarcity problem is not because there's a lack of land to produce food. They're producing not food for humans, but they're producing for animals, and they have taken the best land for themselves and put black folks and everybody else on rocks to eat.
So let's do that. I'm gonna read a couple of the comments here real quick. So Crystal Mendez did a tag. Okay, so Troy Doe says, "Is there such thing as a non-GMO soy? I'm aware that soy is one of the top 10 GMO foods. If it's such a thing as non-GMO soy, is it safe? I don't trust it, so I leave it alone."
Okay. 90% of the soy in America is genetically modified. However, soy was not developed to be eaten as a food, or it was used in Japan as a condiment, but it's fermented. But the soy was brought over to America by Henry Ford because they were going to use it to make gasoline, diesel fuel. But the people who call themselves Jews stopped that process, and since they were producing soy, they then promoted it as for human consumption. But really, soy is good for making diesel fuel and plastics.
So now I think that maybe, being from Tuskegee, I got to represent on the soy because we know that it was George Washington Carver that actually suggested the use of soy for industrial reasons
That's
to
right.
Henry Ford. And if you don't understand the relationship between George Washington Carver and Henry Ford, you need to know that George Washington Carver was adopted as a kid. We might say adopted, but he was raised in the house of white people, wealthy, with white people. And we don't want to say that that was like, oh, nice white people took care of George Washington. No, they cut his penis off because they didn't want him around their daughter with that. That's why George Washington had a high-pitched voice because he was castrated. But they had him around there, but that allowed him the opportunity to grow up around people like Henry Ford and other people. And so later in life, when he did the research, and he is the founder of biochemistry. So we think about biosciences and utilizing plant scientists, we have to give that credit to George Washington Carver. And Henry Ford, he actually came up with the idea by studying a plant, told Henry Ford, said, hey, here is how you should operate building in an industrial way, like a plant works. So the word plant, the reason why you call it a Ford motor plant is because the name came from George Washington Carver. And they actually worked together to plant 700 acres of soybean behind the Ford motor plant together, George Washington Carver and Henry Ford. That's some information to know where you stand in the whole issue. But he wasn't feeding it to folks down in Tuskegee University. Just so you know.
That's right. It wasn't brought over here to be used as food. And as a matter of fact, Henry Ford was going to use two products from George Washington Carver. The other one he was going to use was peanut, where peanuts, George Washington Carver had turned peanuts into diesel fuel. As a matter of fact, it was supposed to be used to run the diesel engines, but instead, somebody pushed the Ford out of using alcohol for alcohol fuels for engines for the Model T. They were supposed to use alcohol, okay, from corn, and then the diesel engines were supposed to use the peanut oil and the soy oil, okay, but they were run out of that so they can use crude oil, because crude oil is something they can control in the ground. However, if they allow the cars to be run off of peanuts and soy and corn, then the farmers would be the richest people in America, because then they will be producing the fuel that America runs on now. But they couldn't have that. So this is why. So this whole thing about alcohol fuels, it's nothing new. Matter of fact, the Model T was designed to run on that. But that's not the way they wanted to make money. So now they're coming to use soy and corn, not for their primary purposes, but for a purpose now of putting into you what they want to put into you, which is spermicide.
So let's take another little. I'm gonna cue up a little video real. This is a very short one. It's 1 minute long. But this is all about learning, right? So things that we have to be aware of is we have to be aware of our position, right? So what is the power, of us separating ourselves into a space, becoming excellent at something,
That's right.
and then sharing it with the world. We at Freedom Nation, we say that is the key to freedom. The key to freedom is removing the hardship of maintaining you from everyone else but yourself. And then while trying to fulfill your own needs, become so excellent that you become, and I keep saying this, an invaluable race of people. A set of people that are invaluable, that I can't afford to get rid of. I'm not hitting your kid under the head with a club because I think I might have my lights turned off tomorrow if I do that. All of a sudden, you become relevant, you become important. So let's cue up a little video. It's really short, of George Washington Carver and Henry Ford.
Carver continued to personally consult with Ford about his ongoing research in soy plastics.
Plastics.
In 1942, the automaker unveiled a car that included a bushel of soy in its construction.
The gear shift knob, the door crank handles, the foot pedals, things like that. Mr. Ford had nearly 7,000 acres of soybeans grown right there in that area. He had the research labs right there that he worked in, and he tied that with industry in his plant of building automobiles.
In a rare film from 1943, the Ford Motor Company revealed a car that had some body parts constructed from soy plastic. Ford researchers wanted to demonstrate just how strong and ding-proof this material could be. And Henry Ford himself even took a few whacks.
Henry Ford took a mallet and hit the trunk lid of a Ford car to show the durability of soy plastic. We can do that today with soy plastic made from soybeans.
again. Can't hear nothing. All right, that's a product made from one of my homeboys from Tuskegee, an African American who basically split himself, a black person, who split himself away by going to Tuskegee University with Booker T. Washington, surrounded himself with other intelligent black people who ironically focused their energy on building bricks, infrastructure, farms, and everything else, and created things, and I'm wrong, not 7,000 acres of soybean that actually did exist inside some of the Ford vehicles. I think that's significant. Now, you ask about GMO inside of soy, and it ends up into a conversation about something else. So let me fill one more or two questions out of here. Let me bring them down because it seems like there's a lot of questions this time. I can never get you guys to talk this much. All of a sudden, you're talking a whole lot. Okay, so volume went out. Let's go down. No sound. Let's get past that. Sound now. Thank you, sound. Okay, when they put chemicals in the water to increase psychosis in the communities, you are now a GMO. That's very interesting. 2 types of GMO. Now we need vertical farming with no GMO seeds. Good and very bad. Sorry for the sound. Let's see. Let's go on. And here's another one. He's saying that there are too many poor people to feed. The increase in demand for food, which would other not be available, are because poor people are the only type of people being born. That's from Gabriel. Let's stop right there for a second. You want to comment on that? What about the conversation about poor people and the fact that of arable land and having enough food to actually feed the people we have right now in the world, 7.6 billion people. There is a projection that is widely shared that by 2050, we will get up to about 12 billion people in the world. Mm-hmm. That number is unsustainable in its current level, and things like missing crops or having things fail could actually mean mass catastrophe. Of course, if the food runs out, then people don't just miss the food. They actually, there's more things that go with that. It's about your need to acquire food. It becomes a core need. It is a core need. So the idea of you doing crime, the idea of you doing all kinds of things becomes a reality. So can we deal with the idea of food scarcity and not using GMO and how we address that?
Well, we have to be, how can I put this, genuine. The argument is not genuine. Meat is not the best conduit from what we all get energy from. We get energy from the sun. The sun energy is transformed by plants. The plants are able to transform about 10% of the energy that it receives from the sun into chemical energy in the plant that we can eat. However, when the animal eats the plant, most of what comes out is going into excrement, and only 10% of the energy that is in the plant winds up in the meat. So when you're eating meat, you're not getting your best conduit for energy. And a lot of people say, no, I eat meat. I eat chicken and fish. I'm not trying to dog it all away, but I'm just saying the reason that the world has a problem with land and scarcity is that it's being used to grow food for animals, which is not the best efficient way to do it, but it is the way that the West can make money off of it. So if more people would just eat things like this, you say, well, we got to have meat for protein. Okay, elephants don't eat meat. Horses don't eat meat. Cows don't eat meat. But yet you drink milk from cows to get protein, and you cut up cows to get protein. But where do they get their protein? Well, their protein comes from plants and their body ability to transform those plants into amino acids to build up their body. You have that same capability. Now, meats in the past had a very good function. Meats were our refrigeration system in the past, meaning this, that the land that you could not use to grow food, you let the animals graze. And then in the wintertime, when you didn't have the vegetables coming off the ground, you had your animals that you could slaughter to carry you through the winter. But that And that's why it was always celebrated when they kill an animal. It was celebrated and give thanks to God because now they're able to survive through the season when the crops are no longer in season or where their storage has run out. The people who are trying to talk about scarcity are the same people who produce the scarcity by taking the people off the land, put them in cities, and then feeding them with meat. Okay? You eat hamburgers, you eat chickens all the time. I mean, you go to a black community, you know it's black when you see a church's chicken. That's when you know it's black. Okay? So you eat meat all the time. That's not the way you're supposed to eat. Eating 3 meals a day, eating meat. That's not what you're supposed to eat. But now they're talking about scarcity. No, this is all a plan of genocide. And it's very hard for people to accept that Bill Gates and all these good white folks are actually planning the destruction of all non-white people. I'm probably going to get erased off Facebook again for making such statements, but it's hard to get that to wrap your mind unless you study what's going on. Now, we know that black folks is dying earlier than we did even in slavery, okay? We know that brothers and sisters, young people got diabetes. We know that they're dropping dead on the basketball court at a young age. We know that our people are sick, overweight, but yet we want to talk about scarcity. No, what we should talk about is eating the wrong food, having the wrong diet, and not having a proper plan for exercise in your life. They took exercise out of the school system. Okay, no more outdoors for you. Stay inside and eat potato chips and candy, and so you will die at an early age or not being able to have children. We're dealing with a person who is taking a antibody that attacks human sperm, and then taking that antibody and sticking it into the DNA of corn, into the DNA of soybeans, so that when you eat products made from corn and soybeans, if it's GMO, then that product will kill your sperm if you're a man, or if you're a woman, when your sperm comes into your body, it will kill that sperm. Okay, it was invented in 1999 by a company called Epicite, and now DuPont and Monsanto in 2004 bought that plant so they can take what that plant produced, that company produced, to stick into their GMO products, and now we have a 17% drop in the sperm count on Western world.
So let me. So we're not talking about the effects of GMOs and everything else. And I'm gonna read a couple comments first. Everybody knows this is a conversation that we love the fact that we can do this Facebook Live because we get this dual conversation going from all sides versus the talking heads alone. Adrian Brown says no such thing as a good GMO. Thea Cooper, how are you? Wow, thank you, says Troy. It ain't natural. It's not good for you, says Adrian. Terrible story, Cecile. Let's go a little bit more. Crystal Mendoza says, is no farmers interested in vertical farming? If yes, how many they be contacted? Okay, so we're going to hold that, Crystal. I'm coming back to you. Then also, CL Taylor says, what effect do you think government subsidies to farmers to grow certain crops over others has had on availability of affordable fresh fruits and vegetables? So hold on. We're going to do this real quick because I want to make sure we filled every question. So first of all, we had a question up here about farmers interested in vertical farming. And then we have another question here about what effect do you think the government subsidies to farmers to grow certain crops over others is. So the effect of having government subsidies and not having government subsidies and what that does to the farmers. Hassan Ugundo, Agumbo. So volume, I think I solved that. They need to make the current cars out of that stuff. The cars nowadays fold like aluminum soda cans. I like conversations like this. Right up my alley, says Tree, and we like give them to you. If the wealthy would cease being greedy, then there would be a lot to go around. What is the brother's name? Okay, we're going to put names back up again in just a little while. Brother Tree, stick around so you can find out, though. Everyone has the ability to grow their own food. There can never be a food desert unless we refuse to grow our own food. Okay, that's a statement. Sina Ali says, brief connection, bro. It's only 1% of the life energy available from animal meats.
That's right. 10.
Teach that.
No, 10. No, no. But 10 times 10 is 1%. 10% is reduced by the crops. Then the animals eat it, reduce another 10%. So 10 times 10 is 1%.
So how much? So we're saying 10%.
You only get 1% from by eating
1%
meat.
from meat, but 10% from vegetables.
10% from vegetables of the sun's energy.
Okay.
But 1% from meat, 10% from vegetables.
So that's also important. You know, we make a statement to say 1% comes from meat. We need a contrast. Because if somebody says 1% comes from meat, then everybody assumes 99% comes from plants. And you'll be walking around here, you won't say 1% came from meat. You'll be like, the doctor just said 99% comes from plants. That's not true. So 10% of your life force from plants, 1% from meats. And that's the difference there.
When I say life force, I mean it's 10% of the sun's energy that's transformed into energy that you could eat.
There you go. There you go. Addictions, it's more to it than that, but I see where he's going. That says, Theo, what are those best foods to eat for protein and energy? So protein and energy. You guys have been just writing, man. Y'all, I don't know why y'all don't talk to me when I'm talking by myself. I feel bad. I'm not talking about myself no more. When you purchase me homes and subdivisions, they plant certain trees which you can't cut down, according to the neighborhood association. But these trees produce chemicals in the soils as a defense that make it difficult to plant your own garden. So it's through the process of GMO type food, fast pass society that drives the need to eat fastly, made food, and also new home building to prevent us from accessing natural food. That's a very interesting angle, and that's from Gabriel Chef Ishmael. Chef, I think you should come in on our next conversation. Staple food and so on, microgreens, sprouts and beans. Those are question marks, but I don't understand the question. Kamal, you got to rephrase that. Kamal, our energy comes from glucose, which is a carbohydrate. Fruits are the best source of glucose. So I'm going to ask Doctor to comment on that. All right, y'all, I'm holding up for a second. Y'all got to come back. There's 50 more. Y'all writing, boy. Today, y'all in it. You know, I know that the doctor stirred y'all up. Y'all happy to see. I'm inviting everybody from Nation of Islam back to the show just to get everybody to keep talking. That's what's happening from now on. So all right, so let's get into it. Let's ask a question. I'm going to queue up one more video, though, that talks about this because we're going to toss the other side into it real quick. Why GMOs are healthy. Hold on. Let's take the mute and put it back on, and let's take a look.
Chances are that if you're regularly exposed to the American food market and media, that you've seen advertising that proudly states its product is GMO-free. Contrary to popular belief, GMOs, or genetically modified organisms, are in many ways good and generally beneficial to the world. GMOs are made by isolating a desired gene from one organism and inserting it into another by means of a variety of different methods. So what's so good about GMOs? The biggest reason organisms, usually plants, are genetically modified is to increase production. This is usually achieved by helping plants to survive various threats. One of these threats is disease. In the late 1980s and early 90s, genetically modified papayas were able to solve a crisis with the papaya ring spot virus in Hawaii. The modified papayas produced 125,000 pounds of marketable food per acre, which was 25 times more than non-modified fields. Genetic modifications have also allowed for crops to be resistant to insects. The western corn rootworm alone can cause farmers a loss of $1 billion per year. Pest resistance is achieved by allowing the plant to produce a certain protein, which, when eaten by an insect, turns into a toxin which kills it. The protein does not change when consumed by humans or livestock. This trait allows for farmers to use less or no pesticides, which can save them money, time, and reduce their environmental footprint. By 2050, the world population is expected to exceed 9 billion people. In order to feed them, our food production will need to double. So the next time you hear about GMOs, consider how this technology is helping to feed our growing world. To learn more, visit GMOanswers.com.
All right, we're not plugging them. Roll that back. I ain't plugging nobody.
You got your sound on now?
Yeah, we have our sound on. I didn't turn it down this time. We're not plugging them.
All right, liar,
So-
liar, house on fire.
Well, that's a pretty good sell there. You know, we're all going to
Well-
starve to death
Well,
and be
basic
killing each other,
problem.
eating our feet if we don't
You
get
know
GMO.
what?
We're going to eat each other's feet off if we don't get GMO.
No. Let me put it like my feet. White folks will cut their own foot off if they think you go use it. Now let's go to the statement that they made about the GMOs increasing farmers' crop production. It has not increased the farmers' crop production. As a matter of fact, some farmers now want to sue Monsanto because their weeds have attached themselves to the plants that are genetically modified and stolen the DNA, and now they're producing children that are immune to Roundup in particular. So Roundup ready corn, Roundup ready soybeans, but now plants have become immune. So now we got down south a plant called pigweed. Pigweed, Roundup can't touch it. It just eats Roundup. However, with the present harvesting equipment, it tears up the harvesting equipment. It grows up to be the size of your arm, brother. And your arm is bigger than my arm. I mean, in one season, it grows up to be as big as my arm, okay, in terms of the size of it, the root. And then it goes up to about 5 or 6 feet. So when a harvester comes in, it tears a harvester up. So they got to pay people to go out in the fields now, which is hard to get people to go out to go in and to cut those down by hand. So farmers have allowed their faith in GMO, Roundup Ready, for them to dismiss those equipment that they used to use to fight weeds, and to dismiss those people who knew how to utilize that equipment to fight weeds. And now they got to fight weeds that the GMO, that Roundup can't kill. So now, but the companies that produced those equipment have gone out of business. So a whole sector of a system has fallen apart, and now they're finding out what they depended on ain't working no more. Okay? So this whole argument about, these will help them increase production. And then you look at the GMO when it comes to the bacteria that they took from the earth and stuck into the corn and the soybeans to make it BT BT compatible, or to produce its own BT, its own bacteria, basilicus, so that the insects, when they eat it, they will die. Well, lo and behold, now not only the monarch butterflies are dying, but the bees, the honeybees, are dying. And they don't want you to know that the reason for, you heard about it, about these whole beehives, millions and millions of beehives dying, and they don't know what killed them. They know what killed them. We have on our farm, we had, when we got our farm in 1995, because the person who had the farm before used a bunch of chemicals, I was surprised. I did not see any birds. Now, I'm in the woods. I'm so far back in the woods, they call it the backside, and I didn't see no birds. I got scared. I didn't see no deer. I didn't see no rabbits. I didn't see no squirrels. All I saw was some coyotes every now and then. Now, since we have been there, and very little bees, so we had to bring in bees. So we wanted to pollinate our watermelons. But then our beehives would die out. Okay? So we figured that they died out because they went to our next door neighbor who grows GM products, genetically modified products. But the media and the scientific journals were saying, "Oh no, that's not it. It's not GMOs. No, it's something strange. It's electric wires, and it's cell phones and all type of stuff." No, now they're admitting that it was the GM. So since we don't use a lot of chemicals on our farm and no genetically modified crops, over time now, this past summer, for instance, we had a lot of watermelons that were pollinated by a lot of bees, but they were natural bees that have come back. Everybody comes to our farm now. The bees come to our farm. The deer come to our farm and eat up our watermelons. Okay, the raccoons come to our farm and eat up our crops. Everything comes to Muhammad Farms because now we have produced a natural environment for nature, so we share some with the other animals and insects. But those beneficial insects now help us to pollinate our crops without us having to bring in outside bees in, because we have changed the whole environment of an ecosystem and brought it back to a natural state.
So here's my question, Dr. Ridley, and then we're gonna switch topics real quick. It's because I'm surmising it like this. You know, when you're talking, I'm getting this view of a young lady, right? And we know that we have this issue down in Africa, in the Caribbeans, and we still have it here in the United States. These folks using these products to whiten their face, right? So we know they put on these bleaching creams. And they put it on, and you see a girl, you know, she's got the little fly hair that you like, and she's got her skin in some way that looks appealing to you, makes it all shiny, whatever. Me, you know, I like them light and dark. I'm not going to say I like them just dark. I like them dark, light, and all in between. I like all my people. I got babies across the whole spectrum, you know. So that
The
is,
whole
but
world or spectrum? Oh, go ahead.
yeah, not the world yet. Just the spectrum. But the you know, you see this lady and she's all dressed up, but eventually the chemicals that she's putting on her face are going to be the very thing to eat away at her face,
Right.
to force her to use more chemicals to try to look good.
Right.
And by the time you peel off, you know, I've seen these things on Instagram, boy, they scare the hell out of me. As a matter of fact, you know, well, hold on, let's we need to put one of these one of these situations up so that we can, you know, have a visual, you
When
know,
you mess
you know.
with nature, this is what you're going to get.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever seen these things. They're
No,
on
I
YouTube.
haven't.
The kids, they watch this stuff where these ladies, they come and put on makeup. It's some real horrible stuff. It's stuff that, you know, you ain't seen. Here, take a look at this. This is what I'm talking about. So just so we get an idea. You see this lady? Woo. Now that's a result of her putting on the makeup. And then let's fast forward. We don't need to watch all that. We gonna say, there you go. Treacherous.
Cover it up again, but
Yeah.
it's going to eat away more, right?
Treacherous. Look at that. From that to that, but then that's how they doing, right? So that's how we
How'd
eat
she get
corn,
them
I
lips?
guess.
The Botox, did she pump them up?
She put the stuff on her lips.
She pumped them up.
Yeah, that.
Well, you know,
put
these
stuff
people,
on
they
her
don't,
lips.
they don't like our skin and
Yeah.
our nose and their lips, but then now they're pumping up their lips and
Oh,
they pumping up
it's
their
worse
butts.
in Africa. Check this one now.
Oh,
This
okay.
you see the sister, she come out.
Oh,
You like, oh man, I'm going to Africa.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you see, you know, she didn't start.
Start peeling, huh?
No, she started here, way down there somewhere. She like she didn't had a whooping this morning before she came out, and she ain't have to do that to herself, but she did. I know we're gonna stop talking about people. Y'all know I'm no good when it comes to that. So the thing about it is that's what we're doing with our food, though. That's
Yeah.
what it sounds like to me.
You're
That you're
covering up.
telling us we're doing the same thing with our food. We're covering up the reality of what it is. Let's catch a couple of comments in here.
Yes.
Our energy comes from glucose. Okay, we read that already, brother. Moses spoke of when a nation forgot their identity, curses will come upon the land. He used the creation in the case of weather. That's what Shahid Grace says. Celeste says we need more farm to kitchen solutions. And then Brother Makla Muhammad asked Dr. Wrigley if he can speak on the economic blueprint. Troy says, I think Crystal is referring to the NOI. All right, let's go ahead. Gabriel Chef says, I also read about the sperm decreased, but also through through that decrease, a male X chromosome, so that it becomes Mr. Like. And listen, I'm gonna read these things exactly how you write them. So if your fingers is messed up on the keyboard or something, whatever, you know, you have to read this. I understand.
edit.
We could the whole thing is an hour long, so you got plenty of time to type it in right. I'm messing with you, Gabriel. I really am messing with you, but I'm telling you, type it right. Because you ain't typing right now. Okay, Tree says, Sister Tree, LOL, thank you. Let me go ahead and I'm going to cue up everybody's name because this Tree, I almost forgot about you. You asked me to cue these names one more time, and I need to do that for you. So once again, just so you know, you're talking with Dr. Rigla Abdul Mukmin from Muhammad Farms, who is the Minister of Agriculture for the Nation of Islam. And then in addition to that, you are also talking to Brother Carlton Muhammad, who hasn't actually had a chance to speak yet.
I told you, don't give me the mic. I told you, don't give me the mic. I told you, don't give me the mic.
His chance is coming. We getting there. I mean, we're not going to, not Brother Carlton off. He going to get his word in before, because we about to start talking about a whole nother thing for the next 20 minutes.
I'm enjoying the show.
So we gonna start talking about something else. So we started out, like I said, we kind of coming to the end of our GMO conversation, but we want to toss a little bit in just here. So let me finish answering the questions that we got on GMO. Dr. Wrigley, can you speak on Muhammad Farms? Everyone cannot grow their own food, says C.L. Taylor. City dwellers who rent rely on availability of clean soil and permissions from other because they are not owners. Now, CL, thank you for giving me my segue. You just gave me my segue to change this topic, because I'm about to jump on you on something else. Before I do that, let me read Brother Shahid's comment. Actually, you know what? There's another 50 comments down here. So, unfortunately, I won't be able to read every single one of them. Let me ask you, will there be a part 2 of this next week? If so, Brother Victor Muhammad, and biochemical engineer and scientist and minister in the Nation of Islam, would like to enter the conversation on benefits of some GMOs, who wrote some of the GMOs. Oh, Lord. That's a very interesting
Very
one.
interesting. Very interesting.
Would you be willing to do that? We could cue you up on the video.
Well, sure, you can bring me in if you bring him in.
Got you. Let's do that. We're going to do that. Brother Victor Muhammad, we're going to do that. The food is genetically modified for production. All right. Now, let's use the segue. So, our dear brother is saying that some places you live in don't allow you to grow your own food. Now, I'm going to ask one more question, Dr. Really, before we go on for it. And this is just a simple question. It's kind of like a little yes or no, but I know he's going to expound on it. And that is the idea of everyone growing their own food, or at least growing some food, right? And I'm not talking about everybody have to grow a full set of crops, but maybe I grow collard greens, and then you grow corn, and then you grow wheat, and then we can swap it out or whatever. Under the kind of laws of the free market system, the idea that segmenting manufacturing and so forth and so on will allow us to increase and do things better and serve each other. Is that something that we can do? Can we even start having the conversation about everybody growing their own food? Is that a good conversation? Do we need to put our minds and our hearts and our monies and resources behind growers that we trust and know, that have the ability to grow non-GMO foods at a production level that will feed us? Or do we need to put our energy and our minds in trying to grow for ourselves and work with our neighbors? What is the solution to actually to quantity? Now, and I'm talking specifically about quantity. Now, I know we waste a tremendous amount of food in this world. If we didn't waste the food, there'd be enough to feed twice as us. I know that. But given some of our current practices, what do you believe that is a solution to us satisfying the quantity issue and growing in our space?
Simple answer is go to Cuba and study their system from top to bottom in terms of food. Okay, we did. That's the short answer. And the long answer is this. You made us, in your statement, you said market driven, or the market. Earlier somebody asked the question whether the government subsidies affected the use of crops, in particular towards GMO. And the answer is, you do not live in a market economy. America is a planned economy, and I can prove it. I've got the smoking gun on them. They plan to run the people out of the cities, out of the country into the cities. And one of the plans was, in 1962, the Committee for Economic Development gave the plan to the government that they would reduce farm prices, reduce the prices that farmers would receive from the market, and then they would develop subsidies for those farmers who were suited for survival. Now, those farmers who were suited for survival were white farmers. So the black farmers did not get the subsidies. So that's why the white farmers were able to get $1,000 over a 10-year period per acre and buy the black farmers out, and then they were able to mechanize and continue the chemicalization of agriculture to the point where they were pushed to a point where they have to accept the GMOs because the cost of the inputs that they had substituted into agriculture, the petroleum, the chemicals, um, and the labor. The prices are going up to a point where they were ripe for the introduction of these GMOs, which they said would reduce their costs, but instead it reduced their costs for a short period of time. But now their costs are going back up, and yet they don't have the skilled labor nor the people willing to become labor to go into the fields to, in fact, fight the weeds for them. Now, concerning, we push in the Ministry of Agriculture a two-pronged attack. We say, grow food as close to you as you can, your vegetables. When we went to Cuba, we noticed that in Cuba and Havana, they did not have refrigerated trucks coming in the morning. I went outside to look, no refrigerated trucks. I found out why. Because your vegetables, which you really needs refrigeration if you're trying to ship it across country, they grew their vegetables in the city. Every blank spot in the city that had raised bed gardens, they had what you call hoop houses. What the Cubans been had that. Producing the fresh vegetables in the city. But some crops you're not going to produce in the city. You're not going to be able to produce enough wheat for bread in the city. You're not going to be able to produce enough dry beans, enough potatoes, enough rice. These are what they call the staples. You have to have large acreages of those, and that's why they produce those in the larger cooperatively owned farms outside the cities, and they're pushing for the people in the city to do vegetables. So we tell the people, put your pot of tomatoes up. You know, you should just be in contact with nature. If you got more room in your city, then put up a community garden. But we have found that the problem with the community garden is that two problems. Number one, nobody wants to work to pick. And number two, they're not cooking no way. So when you produce the product that people are not cooking, so it gets wasted, and they don't want to help you pick it no how. So the problem is not production. The problem is cultural. We are a fast food nation. And we're going fast food to hell, and GMO is to help us get there. To hell, that is.
Yeah. We are coming to conclude our GMO conversation, and we're going to use that segue. So, you know, you got this idea of, and you know, when you mentioned the foods that are staples that you have to grow in mass, there's something very interesting about those foods. Those are not foods you have to refrigerate or store very often.
That's right.
You just literally they're dry foods.
That's right.
Dry grains. You got potatoes that can last for extensive amount of times in the right conditions. There's no reason to go through all of that.
That's right.
You know, that's a pretty interesting thing, that you should grow those things that perish quickly by your house.
Right.
And you should grow the things that do not perish so quickly in place. Old school, if you think about, you know, Emperor of China, or if you think about the Pharaoh of Egypt or whatever, they had grain stores. And they always maintained the grain store. So they didn't have to maintain, you know, pineapple stores and tomato stores.
That's right.
Because you grew that next to your house.
That's right.
And that's what you do. So there you go, is your target for even what you shouldn't be growing. And I'm going to throw one more thing in there. Grow some herbs around your house.
That's right.
Help keep things like the critters and the snakes and all that kind of stuff away. And also help you season your food. And maybe, hopefully, in the meantime, some of you folks can learn how to cook for real.
Ooh.
Faruq said that. Ooh.
Ooh.
Wait. I got to share something with you guys before we do our segue, because I'm going to let you know that we got about 10, 20 minutes left inside of the program. And then we're going to jump. And we love having our guests here. And it seems like you love them, too. But
yeah, we came here to learn, by the way.
That's right.
they came like they don't.
That's
Man,
right.
they came to eat, too.
Yeah.
We feed our people. You know, we feed our people. So I'm going to show you. Let's use that segue, though. Let's use a segue about the trees and the other things that are done inside some of these communities that stop you from being able to grow the way you want to grow. Let's talk about the homeowners association that determines that. And a lot of people don't know about homeowners association. A lot of people don't know about zoning.
Right.
That the origin of these things, the origin was to keep your black behind away from the white communities. That is why they developed it. They basically saw affluent people trying to move themselves in too much, so they started putting laws in place that made it impossible for you to live the way you wanted to live.
That's right.
So everything that made sense to you, they made illegal. Now, they didn't make it illegal like we put it on the law book. No, it's very free form in the zoning laws, and very free form even more inside the HOA. And so you will know the HOA gave birth to the zoning laws. One came before the other, right? And it's I have a great book up here. I was hoping I could pull it down for you guys so you can know to read it, but I can't see it right now. So it's more about the history of building in the United States to explain zoning laws, explain HOAs. This was not written by a black person. This was written by someone just giving historical context of their own space. So they're basically saying that this came from separating people that were not wanted to live around other people. Greatest mechanism for separation. It was zoning and this. And now a lot of us believe it's just about creating good houses. But people knew how to build good houses, didn't fall on their head. And nobody wanted to build something that's going to fall on their head. And the world wasn't built exclusively on greed, so they didn't do that. Ironically, we have groups greed. So if anything, they police themselves with the concept of greed and policing greed, so they wouldn't build things that would fall on your head. So let's take that segue as well, because zoning, HOAs, all that kind of stuff are things that people do when they control the building of those neighborhoods. You build a neighborhood, you develop an HOA, you develop this and that, you develop zoning laws based on the communities. But you know what doesn't have an HOA? You know what doesn't have zoning laws? You know who doesn't choose what trees go in the ground? When you build your own place.
That's right.
When you build your own place. So that is a segue. Let's do another introduction once more, just in case you're coming in late and you didn't see for whatever reason. Let's introduce Brother Carlton Muhammad. And Brother Carlton Muhammad is from Time to Leave Blog Talk Radio. Now, some of his listeners actually heard me before. I'm going to let him do a little quick introduction to himself, and I'm going to let him talk about kind of that. And what we're going to do is we also going to plug a little bit, too, at the same time. This is while he does that, we're going to plug. We're going to change this out. Let's get rid of our stuff here, and let's put all the attention on Brother Carlton. Okay, I just messed up. I'm gonna put this up here as well. I want you guys to get his website. I want you to know where the website is. I don't want you not to know. That doesn't make any sense. So let's do this. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boop, and voila. Time to leave.us is the website you're looking over on the other side over here. And this is Brother Carlton. And Brother Carlton, tell me what your platform is about. Let us know a little bit about yourself.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, Facebook warriors. Brother Faruq, thank you for having us at your place here at Freedom Labs. My name is Brother Carlton Muhammad. I'm a member of the Nation of Islam Ministry of Agriculture under Dr. Ridgely. And additionally, I am a representative of the Time to Leave movement, timetolleave.us. And the Time to Leave movement was born out of a speech made by Minister Farrakhan, I believe it was last October, called Separation or Death. And members of the nation, we decided that we had to take a more proactive approach to working toward actually getting working toward a physical location where black people can control their own land where we live. And so we decided that the best place to start was with land that we already own. We own Muhammad Farms. It's a 1,600-acre farm in southwest Georgia. And what better place to start your own place, your own separate society. So that's what we're doing. We're building what we're calling the Muhammad Farm Society. We're working hard to make it a example, a sample society, so that we can show other brothers and sisters the benefits of controlling our own land. So much like Freedom Nation, we know that we're not going to have 100% total freedom unless we control and own the land under our feet. So what we're doing with the Time to Leave movement, we're trying to have a voice, an area where we can talk. In fact, we really didn't know that an organization like Freedom Nation existed until recently. And it's through the Time to Leave movement and our sister Katina Muhammad that met Brother Faruq. And Brother Faruq came on our show twice to introduce us to the Freedom Nation. And now we're here. And so we're excited to be able to be part of this movement for black people to look at and parse and see the reality of actually making a move to where we can have our own communities. And so that's what we're doing, Brother Faruq.
So, Brother Carlton, I think what happens is if we had said this about a year ago, we would have found more opposition in this idea of time to leave, right? And they would have put us in the crazy bin, most of our people.
Why is that?
In the crazy bin, like time to leave. Y'all Negroes always want whatever. But, we've been blessed by Hollywood. We didn't make no money off of it, of course, but we were blessed with visuals. Visuals are powerful, right?
Yes, sir.
And we were blessed with the visuals of Wakanda. Right? Everybody, Wakanda. It don't matter that people have been talking about this for 50, 60, 70,
Yes,
80,
sir.
100 years. It's Wakanda now. Whatever the heck gets your attention. And we're happy to do that. That got your attention, so let's pay attention.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me for that. The thing that we are, of course, talking about now is Wakanda sounds great. The idea of living in this space sounds great. But anybody tell you right off the backside, Wakanda got the Black Panther. Wakanda got them wonderful ships that can shoot people. They can cloak so they can be invisible. We don't have none of that. And so the question then comes down to, will they blow our behinds up? I was going to say something else. Will they blow our behinds up? Do we have another Rosewood Black Wall Street in the making? The question is, will they destroy us for doing this?
Well,
And I got a little more.
Yes, sir.
Not only will they, is it inevitable? But if it is, how do we protect ourselves from that? Because I'm telling you, look, I have talked the idea of us building our own city. I have not said a single negative word about blowing up anybody else's, and I shall not. So get that straight, my alphabet letter people. Okay? The reality is this. Our people are stupid afraid, like crazy afraid of going out on their own because they're afraid someone's going to whoop their ass for doing it. They really are. They don't say it in these exact terms, but I believe if I had like a translator that I could put like a box on somebody's neck, and if it translated your voice into like 1850 television style slave talk, a guy would be saying, well, that sounds great, this and that, but if you put the box into his face, he'd be like, they gonna kill us if we leave.
That's it. It's real.
So that's one thing we done. Sister Latifah, assalamu alaikum, it's good to see you. Oh, CL says another Waco. He put Waco all 4 caps. Another Waco. Right? So they completely and utterly live in fear of their own excellence and materializing it in this world into their own space. What do we have to say about that, Brother Carl?
Well, several things came to mind. One, what do we have to lose? They're already killing our black behinds right now in the cities. We're getting murdered. We're being humiliated. They humiliate us as black men by taking our women and throwing them down on the ground and telling us, to get out the way. And so what is our current president said, what do we have to lose? Number 2, as a believer in God, as a Muslim. Sir? No. But, hey. We stand. If he says something that's an actual fact, it's an actual fact. Number 2, as a believer in God, my belief is that as we come together as a people and we start to stand up and be a people, God's going to be on our side. My belief also is that we don't stand a chance to stand toe to toe, military to military, weapons to weapon, and defeat white people. So, I don't think that at this time, if we believe that we can defend ourselves militarily, I think that's limited. However, my faith in God is that if we build for ourselves, and if we do, like the scripture says, if we do the Exodus, if we go to Pharaoh and say, let our people go, if we're going to get the same benefits as the children of Israel did, and we're going to get blessed with our own land, because that's what time it is right now.
So I got an addition to give to that. Of course, we always talk about the principles of freedom, and remember, this book is made to fit like this, like that, and in your back pocket. So you need to put it in your back pocket. If you don't have a copy to put in your back pocket, you need to get a copy. I'll also tell you that what you need to do is, and I'm plugging. Yeah, I'm shamelessly plugging. Shamelessly. I have no shame about it whatsoever. And you need to go ahead and get yourself a copy of the poster, put it on, remind yourself of the principles of freedom.
That's right.
Remind yourself of those things. And right now, I'm just going to roll the poster down so I can expose just this little piece down here at the bottom that says, external law, become a master of the art of war. What you'll always find on my table here, what you always see is right there at the end of the book at the same time. Let's look there. There it says it again. To perfect the art of war is to perfect the commitment of the external law. It is a final commitment to having your own space and protecting yourself. And I always keep this on my shelf. Now, I know you're like, oh my God, brother just said he's blowing stuff up. He's going to kill people. War, 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 war. No. 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 You need to read the book. The reason that you need to read this book is very interesting because of what Sun Tzu said. Sun Tzu said the best generals neither take life nor lose life. See, you got to learn that. That's a hard one, right? That the ultimate way to protect yourself is to neither take life nor lose life. You should see it as a failure. If you have to start talking violently, then you have lost. You are not a good strategist. You are not a good leader. You are not a person who can control people. It was abhorred by the Prophet Muhammad to take life. He was ordered to do so. Everybody knows the conditions of the first war during Islam was that they were actually stealing all their goods, and they were taking the goods from their house, and they had abandoned their children and their wives and their cousins and friends, and they took them and they outcast them, and they were selling it all over to Syria. They attacked that caravan in order to be able to get their own property back. That's why the Prophet Muhammad went to war. And when he went to war, he got an order from God to do so. He was in tears. He didn't want to do it. He really didn't want to do it. The idea of taking life for any reason was abhorred to him. But he was ordered that if someone comes at you, you must respond. Right? But even that in itself, there are so many different ways to protect yourself. And one of the most significant ways to protect yourself is that you don't protect yourself. You instead make others protect you. Now, this is one of the arts of looking into like the Rothschilds or other people in the Jewish community, right? Now, we can got issues with all the games and the drama, but don't have so many issues that you can't stop to learn. What did they do? We're talking about a set of people who were at the low. The word ghetto came from Jewish people in Italy. The place that they were told they had to go stay. He said, you can't be a Jew in Italy. Literally because the Roman church said that these people didn't believe in Christ, so they couldn't come into Rome. They had to stay on these outskirts of the place called a ghetto. The word came from there. How do you take the people, the same exact people, their grandchildren come along a little bit later and say, I don't care who is in charge in any country. If I control your money, I control you. How does that happen in 3 to 4 generations? They got to a point when you hear President Obama stand up at Cairo University and say to the Arab people, after giving us Assalamu alaikum and all that stuff, that we cannot break our relationship with Israel. This is what he said verbatim. We can't do it. We don't have the ability. You don't do that because somebody, you just like them. Jews are so nice. Oh, no, you do that because they are invaluable. By removing them, you would hurt yourself. There's sometimes a brain tumor or a cyst you get on your body that becomes so bad that you can't even treat it no more. You got to leave it there or else you'll kill yourself trying to get it off. That's what it means to be invaluable. So us doing things like our own food, us doing things like everything, the building materials, the everything, what we can't afford is not to be excellent. When we care deeply about the outcomes of individuals and the outcomes of ourselves, and we take it into our own hands and we strive for excellence, we then provide that excellence to others. And when we provide it to others, then the others can't deal without it, and that's how you become invaluable. Like right now, the grocery store is invaluable to you because you don't know how to grow food like Dr. Ridley. He don't care. If the guy who owned the grocery store tomorrow start talking some crap that he don't like and have a heart attack, Dr. Ridley ain't going to blink an eye. He's still going to eat. You ain't, but he will. So think about that. Think about being invaluable and what that means to you. Why in the world haven't you kicked the ass of that Arab that owns the corner store up down the street? It's because he's providing you something you cannot provide for yourself. You might have all the problems in the world with him, but you can't do a thing about it because you need him. And that's the way it goes. That's the ultimate level of protection, is creating dependency. Now, we got another 5 minutes, 2 minutes actually. We're about to wrap up, and I want Brother Carlton to give us what he needs to give us to talk about the idea of being invaluable. But first, let's read a couple of our statements, 'cause I think I haven't read one of them. We are never the aggressor, but we don't turn our cheek. Real education, black excellence destroys white supremacy, says Sister Majida. And Crystal says about our people also don't want to take over the responsibilities when it comes to do for self. We blacks are content being a permanent underclass. So let's just tie it all together. Brother Carlton's going to tie it all together for us, and then we're going to sign out, y'all. And I'm going to finish this with a video to let you know these are wonderful individuals that received an invitation to Freedom Labs. And I'm going to show you what happened the last time we gave an invitation to Freedom Labs and what's about to happen right now. There's about to be some eating going on. And there's all good stuff going on, right? We already traded. Sister brought in some artisan bread, and we ate jam, and we ate drunk tea. Oh, man, you don't know what it's like to do excellent things and be invited to Freedom Labs. So let's Brother Carlton, the question becomes this.
Yes, sir.
At the corner of all of this, the food systems, the building, the everything, there is a constant theme, and that is people do not want to work. That they love to talk, but like in our last show, we talked about the marshmallow test, and where the doctor said that the idea of doing what's intelligent, so there's marshmallow, you give a marshmallow, and they sit the marshmallow in front and say, if you wait 2 hours, I come bring you 2 marshmallows, as long as you don't eat the first marshmallow, but if you want to, you can eat the first marshmallow. And they were saying how many people will eat that marshmallow instead of waiting for the second one, knowing that they can have 2 if they just waited 2 hours, that the obsession with being served immediately. So the doctor says, if when asked, you ask the same person, what would the intelligent person do? They say they would wait for the second marshmallow. And then they ask the question, well, what are you going to do? I'm going to eat that marshmallow. The reality of thinking or knowing the right thing to do and doing the right thing is very, very far from one another. And talking about a time to leave, talking about breaking away and developing excellence is as far from the reality of some 99.9% of our people
That's right.
as the reality of actually doing it. There's a humongous gap. How would you talk to us about breaking that gap, about making it a reality, taking the talk to real, and not just about what we should do, but actually what should the individual do to bridge that gap?
Well, one of the slogans is a slogan that Dr. Ridgely has been saying a long time with the Time to Leave movement. Either you control the community you live in, or you move to a community that you can control. And so that's the bottom line. We don't control our communities. So what I feel is that we really need to get skills and find out how we can take control of our communities. And that sounds like a massive undertaking, but it really could be as simple as consolidating your buying habits as a group. One of the things we did in Oakland, California, before we moved to South Georgia, we started a produce buying club. And so that enabled us to, number one, get the best foods for cheaper, and we started to exercise a degree of control in our community. So, we need to take baby steps, Brother Faruq, because if you just look at, moving from, where you live and your job right now to moving to the South, which is a different culture, a different reality, you may not have a job. It seems so monumental that we don't even think about it. But if we take baby steps, we start looking at what we're doing right now in our communities, what we can be doing right now to start to pool our resources, to start to control our communities as a group of people, then we can actually we start to see the reality of it, and we start to look at the appeal of actually getting some land and controlling some land and maybe moving. So I want to thank you for the opportunity.
Not a problem. I'm so happy
Yes,
that
sir.
y'all here at Freedom Labs. I really am, and I'm blessed that the benefit of going out there and trying to work is that the people who work come and see you and you get to meet them. That's a blessing.
Word.
That's a blessing. There you go.
Word.
Word.
Word. That's
Word.
Maynard G. Craig. Word. Bad word in America now.
Work. So that is the end of it. That's
Oh.
All right, that's long. I'll shut up. Okay. So there you go. So just to plug it all real quick, pull it all back in. Yeah, I want to tell you that you should take those baby steps in order to get to the point that you need to be at. Get those baby steps, move in. You know, my family, we had to go through it too. We left a 6,000 square foot house to come to this little 1,800 square foot house at Freedom Labs just so we could get an acre and a half so that we could start practicing on what it meant to break away. And before that, we had 4 years of not buying any bread or packaged goods. It took us a solid 8 years to get to this point right now. And everybody has to go through that. Remember, Freedom Village and Freedom Nation is built to help you. So is Muhammad Farms. So is everyone's. And if you really want to listen to the message, one thing that I'm not good at having these shows on a schedule. But Brother Carlton is good at having his shows on the schedule. So Brother Carlton, let them know how they can listen to your show.
Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. Blog Talk Radio /Time to Leave. All the information is also at timetoleave.us, and you can just type in Time to Leave on Facebook.
Okay. And also, once again, we're just going to plug the website of our dear brother, just so you know where it's at, where to go.
MuhammadFarms.com.
We're gonna do one more for Brother Carlton. I'm sorry, because I'm going to give the proper time here. Timetoleave.us. That is the home page. Makes a lot of sense. There it goes. Giving back over here to our Dr. Ridley. Let's see. Let's change over here. You guys, I know I'm DJing and everything else all at one time.
You good.
You know, I'm flipping through this. Okay.
Good.
So, Brother Dr. Ridley, let's please let them know
Yes.
who you are, how to get in touch with you.
MuhammadFarms.com. Also, NOIMOA.com. And Ridgely Mukmeen, MU_MIN on Facebook. So that's how you can keep up with me and try to keep me in the box.
So right now we're going to go ahead and plug that here. Shameless plugs as well.
Shameless.
And let you know, shameless. We don't have no shame plugging. So there it goes. That is the Muhammad Farms website. And I am going to put right here, right now, let's go ahead and let's tag our dear brothers so that you guys can just go ahead and click directly into their Facebook and see what they're doing. Hold on one second. Let's put a tag here. So
Ridgely, RIDGELY.
at RIDGELY.
MU_MIN. MU_MIN.
MU_MIN. Now,
Should pop up there.
There you go. All right. There's Dr. Ridgely. It says if you oh no, I didn't want to do that. Hold on. Cancel. All right, I should just hit enter it. There you go. So my comment just there now, you can go ahead and click that right now. Add yourself to Dr. Ridley's Facebook. Go ahead and like him now so you can keep up what's going on, what he's doing. And Brother Carlton, which Facebook would you like for us to plug?
Time to Leave.
Ooh, there's a lot of them out there. Are any of those yours? I think that's all they're giving us right now. I see Time to Leave 1, 2, and 3. No, the ant sign just gets me to put the finger pop up.
But it's there. Time to
Time to-
leave.
There's 3 of them there. Are any of those yours? Okay, so let me give you a personal one then. Is that okay or no? No? Okay. Brother Collins said, don't contact me
Give me
personally.
Jesus.
I won't talk to you. No, I'm just joking. So we're going to have to go find the as a matter of fact, let's do this now. Let's not hesitate. Anything that we put off to tomorrow most likely won't get done. So let's, real quick, I'm going to find Time to Leave here.
There it is,
Right at the top. Okay, let me copy that in. I'm going to join the group. Oh, it's a group.
It's a group.
It's not a page. Oh, it's questions. Okay, I got to answer those questions later. I have a question. Well, see, now, brother, you know this is me, so I'm just going to put yes, maybe.
You did a bad example.
Don't do what I'm doing. I'm sitting right here, so you don't always answer the questions are to my questions. But I don't want to miss opportunity. And so here goes Time to Leave on the Facebook. Make sure you click that if you want to join the page, join the group. Brother's right here. He'll let you in. And then let's go ahead and MuhammadFarms.com and TimeToLeave.us. And here, as I promised, we shall leave with this one little message. One little thing here. Matter of fact, I think I got to go back. Well, no, stop. Cancel. Hold on one second. Let's switch up here. Let's take you back over here. And I wanted to share with you guys what happens when you come to Freedom Village, to Freedom Labs, right, and pay a visit, especially when you're invited. And you just pop up. We're going to do our best to show you some love and everything else. But when you tell us a month early that you're coming, we have the chance to do some prep, and we go out for you. And this is the last time it happened, and this is what we're going to do every time. So just so you know, it looks like this.
Take me anywhere you want to go. You know that my love is strong in my hideaway. Softly, like the calm that follows storm, find what I've been searching for in my hideaway. Even when I close my eyes, darling, I will always stand wide awake in my hideaway. Touch me like I've never loved before, in a place that I adore, in my hideaway. I know whichever way the wind may blow, there will be a place for me to go in my hideaway. Lost or found, darling, if you know.
I will remind you once again to apply at freedomnation.me/apply, and come and see us at Freedom Labs. That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation, and we will tune in at another time, another day. Much respect, love to my guests, and hopefully we see you at Freedom Village.
So is that original music? Did you make that music?
So it's weird. The white brother that joined in, Jabril, is a troublemaker. He goes down to Trump's rallies just to start shit and get thrown out. That's his whole intent. And he took us out to see the Funkadelics one time, and I was hanging out with the Funkadelic stuff. Excuse me, let me rephrase, because that room was filled with smoke. I was not in that room. I was outside with one of the older brothers, and he was when the older brother's sitting there. This is like the guy who keeps up the rhythm for George. You know, while he's on stage, he's the one that actually makes sure everybody does what they do. And he looks over at us, and I came upon him, and he was listening to this white kid, this young kid. All of that music in that thing was played by the one kid. The one kid was going from instrument to instrument, looping it back around, and he played it through, and it was his voice playing all pitches that you heard. It's amazing. And I was like, yo, if this person who's an icon of music is listening to this, then I should maybe listen to this. And so yeah, he's got some really awesome stuff that he does. And then I always think it promotes the concept of the whole freedom village and the do for self, because these are people who just basically didn't make excuses. They sit in their own room, all they got is a microphone and some stuff, and they make themselves into superstars without leaving that bedroom. Just because but it's because they're excellent. They really are excellent.
They got talent and they're excellent.
Very excellent. So I mean, I think that always speaks. I got a couple ones like they got Kavehi, and this other guy Kavehi. She wrote some music for us specifically and put it out there.
Hey guys, it's Kavehi. This is one of my own. It's called Mark. It's off of my EP Vox, and it's brought to you by Geeks Gone Global. Hope you'll be joining me in East Asia. Here we go.